It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls, 'cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. As days go by, it's the bigger love of the family.
And the other person could have, let's say, a red mark or a scratch. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Dave Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver. How are you today? Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Thank you for joining us today. Today with the Problem Solver, we're going to have an amazing guest. Works and owns a body shop that's going to be talking about if you get into a car accident, what happens with your car, and what you should do, and kind of some of the myths about, bringing a car to a body shop. We're going to basically get into it with Charles Fox from Car Start Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint. So he'll be joining us today and basically talking about some great stuff so we can learn and solve some problems. He solves problems every single day with people that come to his body shop with fixing the different vehicles. And when you get into a car accident, it's not a fun feeling. So we want to be able to go to a trusted person. So with that being said, basically I'm Dave Kohlmeyer. I'm the Problem Solver. Every Tuesdays at 11 o'clock, I basically have special guests that come on the podcast and show in order to basically help solve problems and to learn about different community leaders or businesses that are helping people solve problems in different ways. With that basically being said, I do have a progressive web app, which is basically called the problemsolver.vegas. There will be a QR code that will pop on the screen. You can scan it with your phone. When you scan it, it will take you to a progressive web app. That web app, if you look at it, it basically shows if you have a problem, basically you can click on different types of problems that you may have. We also have the different podcasts of the last about 11 episodes. With that being said, we also have different resources. There's all kinds of different nonprofits that I deal with that are sending me every single week. There's a different event taking place. This week we had Project Humanity, who was doing a home health wellness drive-through. 500 people are basically driving through and getting bags of all kinds of different health and wellness type of products totally for free, nonprofit in the community. So every week there's something going on every day. So I'm trying to basically add these different events and resources onto the Problem Solver app so people can know what type of events and what type of nonprofits are helping people. With that being said, I wanted to share resources of the week that have been helping people. The first thing is the COVID-19 vaccinations. People are getting, the vaccinations still. A lot of people are getting the shots. It seems like things are opening up as well, but I know that there's some concerns about this variant. I have no clue about it whatsoever, but the bottom line is you still need to be careful, it seems, out there in general. But if you guys need the COVID-19 vaccination shot, I'm working with local pharmacies that basically if you need to get in, I can make that happen. All you need to do is basically text and call me. Texting probably is more preferable. My number is 702-400-7474. Again, 702-400-7474. You can go to the app as well and basically if you have any issues, put your name and phone number in and I can get back to you. But again, if you need help with that, again, this is the hot topic, is the whole vaccination. So I guess everyone's getting it done. The next thing is I have a local law firm that basically is doing free wills. I know this is not the best topic out there whatsoever, but these things do cost money. Luckily, the Problem Solver basically has gone out and established different relationships with law firms to help people. So if you want to go to the ProblemSolver.Vegas app, there is a tab which says free will. And if you need to basically fill in the information, we will have one of the law firms help you for free. Taxes also being pushed forward, but it can be done for free as well. On the Problem Solver Vegas app, we have, if someone is making less than $57,000 a year, there's no reason for you to pay for getting your taxes done, because you can be done for free. So again, you can click on that information on the app to get that information, save you some money. We also have the Richard Harris Law Firm, which is evaluating free consultations and free strategy sessions as well for accidents and workers' compensation cases. They're doing free evaluations. They're also going to be helping, just review any type of cases that you have if someone's injured or accident. So please let me know if I can connect you with that firm. We also have the Clark County Justice Center, which is doing free mediation for any neighbor disputes or small civil matters. They will work with a neighbor or any type of civil issue. They will actually help you write a civil contract that people will sign, and which is basically valid in court. Basically, if you guys don't follow through with it, but it is a free service. So again, you don't need an attorney for that. It's volunteers that are certified mediators. I've personally been certified through Clark County Justice Center Mediation Program. It's an amazing program, and a lot of people just don't know about it. So if you have like a neighbor or a problem, you actually would give the name and phone number of yourself and the other party, and they'll try to connect you with the mediator to basically make that happen totally for free in order to help any type of problem that you have. The last thing is United Way 211. I'm always trying to basically, feed that to people, because basically it is free. It is a referral source. It's really important because every single week things are changing. So if you need a driver's license, or you need a voucher for residential, for living, for housing, something happened to you, there was an emergency, 211, which is United Way, you can contact them, and they will basically provide you with the recent resources, daily updates of what's going on and what nonprofits basically helping people. So whatever problem that you have, I am working with United Way in order to basically help people. What I like to share is every single week, people say, Dave, what kind of problems do you deal with? Why are they calling the problem solver? Why don't they call the police? Why don't they call an attorney? I'm a liaison with different law firms that I basically network with, that I believe in. Certain lawyers that I basically have vetted out, where I believe that I can text them and call them, 3 o'clock in the morning, say that this person needs help. So I do my due diligence. As a retired police officer of 17 years, I believe that the law firms I deal with are credible, responsible, they have integrity, and if I'm going to refer you to somebody, it's because I believe that they'll be able to help you, whether there's a fee, whether they're doing it for free, pro bono, and basically sometimes there's contingencies in regards to if it's an accident case, you don't have to pay any money out of pocket. So there's different things that I basically set up for the people that are basically calling me. But otherwise, a lot of times, I was a police officer for 17 years. You don't call the police for everything in general. So by me basically going above and beyond to help people as a retired police officer, I'm trying to help people in different ways. So people do call me every single day for something different. I've got a phone call this morning where it was someone that passed away. It was a probate issue. They're talking about they have land and property. They're not sure what's going on with it. So I referred them over to a probate attorney that's going to basically help them out. I had a phone call the other day. Basically, someone was on lifetime parole for an issue that they stated that they didn't do. They served 10 years in jail, in prison, and they wanted to basically get off of lifetime parole. Again, I'm not really that familiar with that specifically, but they don't really have funds together basically to hire a private attorney. So I basically referred them to the Nevada Legal Aid to get them some help in general. And like I said, I'm not sure what can be done, but the bottom line is I'm going to refer them to the right source. I also had someone that got bit by a dog this week, which was a horrible situation. Saw some photos of the person got bit, by the mouth area in general, and it was a really bad bite. Supposedly, I guess there was another dog trying to attack his particular dog. He decides to jump on his dog in a way of protection. He gets bit in the face. Horrible situation. He may need some reconstructive surgery, in the face area in general. So the bottom line is that we need to get him some help medically. The person doesn't have any insurance, so we would have to work with the law firm that basically can get him medical attention. And normally they call it a lien, where they basically lien the case of a injury case that you'd work with an attorney, and they would basically get him the medical treatment that he basically needs, and they would actually do a civil lawsuit against the other person, which we're assuming they live in a community that's, they own a home, that there's homeowners insurance, and I'm going to refer him to an attorney basically to get him the help that he basically needs to probably do the civil lawsuit. And it's not just about the money situation compensation. The person is severely injured and needs, help. And like I said, cosmetically, I think just to make him look better in the future, hopefully he looks fine. He's going to need the medical attention and not have medical bills because basically he, doesn't have insurance, and not everybody has insurance. So with that basically being said, if you have a problem whatsoever, you can text, you can call me. I'm 24/7. Basically, again, my number is 400-7474. You can also, again, use the Progressive web app, which basically is an app that goes onto your home screen, and you can message me with any type of problem that you have. I will call you, I'll text you, I can meet you, whatever I basically need to do to help out. I am doing this as a free service to help people. I was a police officer for 17 years. I was NYPD for 3 years in Brooklyn as a patrol officer. I did 9 months during 9/11 with the MTA police, serving Grand Central and Penn Station. And I also was a police officer in Henderson for 13 years doing patrol in community policing. So I have a lot of resources to basically help people, and I want to go above and beyond to help people, just something that I want to do to give back. I've been retired the last 6 years, and this is something that I started doing just to basically to pay it forward. So again, if you have a problem, I can help solve the problem. There's no problem that's too small, too big. Again, I have a lot of connections, relationships to basically help people. So again, please call, reach out to me so I can help you out. If you have a problem, again, even though I shared some problems today, I don't need to share the problems, but again, a lot of people are asking me about the stories that I'm basically dealing with and how I'm working with different people, so that's why I shared them. So otherwise, it can be totally confidential as well, not using anyone's specific names. As we're about to go to a quick break, I want to thank my sponsors for the show, Richard Harris Law Firm, the Defenders, and Ticket Busters. We're going to basically come back. We're going to be meeting with Charles Fox from CarStart Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint, and basically we're going to talk with him a little bit more information to help you in the future. God forbid you get into a car accident, what you need to do with your car. Just one last reminder that every single month we do pick a nonprofit. For this particular month, we basically are working with Shine a Light, which is a nonprofit helping people with getting them out of the tunnels, believe it or not, in Las Vegas. We have a t-shirt that we're selling, which is the Problem Solver t-shirt. Money of that will basically go towards the nonprofit. They also have an Amazon account, which again, it's called Shine a Light, where if you want to basically buy something in general to help Shine a Light nonprofit, getting people out of being homeless underground in the tunnels, dangerous spot, you can basically go to Amazon to the gift wish list, and basically, again, Shine a Light is where you would click on, and you would see different items that they basically need. This Saturday, actually, I'm going out myself with the group, going into the tunnels. We have backpacks that were donated by the Richard Harris Law Firm. There's about 100 backpacks that they made. Has all kinds of different necessity items like food and water and gloves and hats and vitamins and a nail clipper. I mean, you name it. There's a bunch of things basically inside that basically help people. Of course, we don't want people to be homeless, but for the time being, if they're not going to basically get the help that they need, at least that we can provide some type of assistance. So I do appreciate and respect the Richard Harris Law Firm for basically donating 100 backpacks that the employees themselves put together. It wasn't like they just purchased it, from Amazon. They put every single piece inside the backpack. So myself and some other employees from other law firms and nonprofits will be working this Saturday to go into the tunnels to basically help those people. So I'm looking forward of doing that to basically, helping and paying it forward. And if you guys want to be involved, they go out every single Saturday at 8:15 in the morning. So if you're interested, please text message me, call me, let me know if you want to be part of it again to pay it forward. So we'll be back in a quick minute, and thanks for joining the Problem Solver today.
Another day in Nevada, and we're lucky enough to call it home. The world knows us for our entertainment, but the best part about living here is the everyday people of our communities. And when one of us gets injured in an accident, well, I guess you could say it's personal. We fight for the people of Nevada every day. The Richard Harris Law Firm at 444-4444, just in case.
I recommend the Defenders because they say what they're going to do and they do what they say.
You're the client, they're working for you, the attorney is your attorney.
I am very impressed with the relationship the Defenders has with their clients, and I hope to continue working with them.
It's not just signing people up, getting clients. It's we're going to take care of your problems, and they care about people.
Neither one of us are giving a hand out to those people so that they could take advantage, but both of us are giving them that massive hand up.
From the moment I came into the office, everyone working at the front desk was super nice and just made me feel like I was at home.
When you call, you know that they're working for you and that they want the best for you.
All right, welcome back to the Problem Solver. I appreciate you guys joining, audio listeners and video on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. Again, today I forgot to mention that there's an app called Go Live Vegas app, which is a digital network. You can download Go Live Vegas in order to basically listen audio-wise from the different shows in the network. And also the Problem Solver, again, is one of them. So you can download the Go Live Vegas app in order to listen on the go. So anyway, today we're basically with Charles Fox with CarStar Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint. Charles, thanks for coming on the show today.
No problem.
If you could just move the mic a little bit to your right there, a little closer. That perfect. I want to hear your beautiful voice.
Okay, no problem.
So Charles, tell us a little. You're with CarStar Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint, which is a lot to say. Tell us about yourself. Where you're from originally?
Originally from New York. So I moved out here in '96. Went to high school here. Then I moved to college. Went to Indiana. Moved back to New York. Met my wife, and then we moved back here together. So I brought a New Yorker back here.
So it's a lot of movement going on. So basically, how many years you been here now?
Got to do the quick math. So since '96 was that 25 years.
Got it. So you've been in Vegas for a long time, so you've probably seen a lot of changes in general. I know that you're in the body shop industry. Actually, was there a few weeks ago just to see the place in general. That's how we originally met. How long have you been involved in the body shop industry?
It's going to be 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. Went by fast.
That's a long time. And you're only 25, right?
No, 40. We're going to be 40. Yeah.
So what made you get into the body shop industry? I mean, tell us a little bit about what you do in the past.
Yeah, I was originally in finance. So I worked 10 years in corporate finance. Went to school for finance. Worked in New York in finance. Came out here, worked in finance. I was just getting bored. I was working 60 hours a week for somebody else. And I was always handy, so I knew how to fix cars and stuff like that. I don't fix cars right now. I have employees that fix cars, but I remember in one of our our MBA sessions, we did like a case study of a collision center, and it was a really interesting business model. It was very profitable. So I looked for one, and I found one, that was underperforming, and I just built it up over the last 10 years to what it is today.
Got it. So, so you believe that your background in finance basically helped you just you looked at numbers and stuff like that, and felt that it was, and you were handy yourself. In the beginning, did you work on cars at all?
No, not at all.
Never.
No,
so you've always been behind the scenes, basically managing and.
Yeah, I always say I'm better behind the desk, not working on the vehicles.
Got it. Okay. So when you looked at the body shop industry in general, how many body shops did you look at?
Oh, there was a lot. Las Vegas has 1,200 collision centers. Wow. So there's a lot of options here. Anywhere from really super high end to really low end, like mom and pop, like really small, one bay garage shops. But there's a lot of shops here in Las Vegas.
When you got the shop, it's interesting because when I was younger in New York City, I had a sun tanning salon. I'm not much if I mentioned to you, but I had a sun tanning salon, and we opened it up, basically brand new. Mm-hmm. We actually came out to Vegas to originally see convention out here just to learn about it. But I really didn't know anything about it. And I definitely did not have a finance background, which would have been good to have in general, I guess. A lot of it's all looking at numbers in general. But When you looked at all these different body shops and you picked this one, so how many did you say that you?
Oh, I probably looked at 10, 12.
10, 12, okay. So you picked this body shop, you're like, I want to get involved in, I'm a finance guy, and you felt that you could build it up, right, in general?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was it was owned by two guys, and they were body guys that were trying to run a business, and it was, they weren't focused on the things that really needed to be focused on, like OE certifications, making sure that you had the tooling, making sure that you cultivate the contracts with the insurance companies, good corporate contracts and stuff like that. They were just focused more or less on word of mouth, but they were centrally located, so they had a really good location, and they had a pretty good following here in Las Vegas. The shop's been there since probably the 70s. So it's been here for a while. I think it originally was Clearly Perfect back in like 72, and they turned it into Metropolitan in the late 80s.
Is that the same location yet right now, or did it move?
It's not the same location. What is it? It started out of like one bay. So it went from one bay to two bays to one full building to two full buildings. So now we're 35,000 square feet.
So it's been there that long.
Yeah.
What's the location, just for the listeners and viewers, what's the location, the address of where you're located?
It's 2901 South Highland Drive. So it's between Sahara and Desert Inn.
Got it. And so that's a long time. I didn't realize I always said if you're selling toilet paper for 40 years, eventually you'll be selling enough toilet paper, right? So I think it's great. So the same location just probably got expanded in general. When you took over the body shop, what exactly did you do differently? Like, did you do anything with the equipment or?
Yeah, so from finance, I was a real big proponent of Lean Six Sigma. So the first thing I did was gutted the entire shop, and I wanted to make sure that the process efficiency, where like we could basically, like, what the insurance companies focus on is how fast you can repair a vehicle, but also the quality. And Lean Six Sigma really gives you like process efficiency with like really good hard stops, and then what it does is it isolates people to do one thing, and it's like an assembly line. So if you put together an assembly line for a collision center, you could actually fix a lot of cars relatively quickly, and then the insurance companies are happy, the insurers are happy because they want to get back into their vehicle. But I also wanted to do that with OE certifications, so I wanted to make sure that we had the right tooling. All my guys had the right certifications. So like right now we're Honda certified, Acura certified, GM certified, Ford aluminum certified. We specialize in Corvette. We're all FCA like Jeep, Chrysler. Okay. So we're certified in all the major manufacturers, and we're the only Class A collision center in Las Vegas, which means that we have the tooling to fix cars to OE specification. Where a lot of people don't realize that, hey, I just dropped my car off, all paint is created equal. It's a body shop. It's not. With new cars, especially with the like ADAS systems and collision avoidance systems, there's a lot of shops that can program that stuff wrong, and you wouldn't even know until you go to hit your brake, or someone pulls out in front of you and your car thinks that car is 5 feet away, but it's really 15 feet away, or vice versa. Got it. And you get really hurt.
It makes me nervous when I hear you speak about it because it's so advanced, in general. I mean, when I had a tanning salon, which is nothing, we had 6 tanning beds. The biggest worry I had to worry about was like changing a light bulb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, I almost kind of probably lost my eyesight as I'm changing the bulb. Yeah. You basically, you're turning it, a certain way to see if it works. And I think one day I wound up in the hospital because as you're changing all these bulbs, I didn't really have help that day. I wound up like burning my eyes a little bit. But I mean, the equipment that you deal with, putting a car back together, it's just, I couldn't even imagine that. Yeah. If I had a problem, I would call like an electrician to come out to fix something, but I couldn't even imagine like putting the car back together. And the other thing is also because you're not like the actual guy putting it together, you are managing somebody that basically knows what they're doing, but you also, I guess, like how do you figure out they're doing the right job? Like,
we have procedure pages from our OE certification. So like if I'm fixing a Honda and we're doing a quarter panel, well, I go to the Honda procedure pages and we look it up and they tell you exactly where to weld, like what welds, plug weld, spot weld, this gets a rivet, this is aluminum, take this stuff. So it's like really like an instruction manual on how they should do it. And the guys know how to do it. So they know how to change a quarter panel, they know how to do frame stuff. But if you think from a management standpoint, I'm not a body guy, so I don't know how, hey, this quarter panel is supposed to go tuck underneath here. But we have procedure pages, so we check them. So we have 4 hard stops. So basically when a vehicle comes in, the first hard stop is basically after disassembly. We look at everything, make sure that the estimate that we have is totally inclusive. So, hey, you know what? There's, the frame rails bend, or it needs ADAS calibration, or if it needs this, or needs airbags, or something like that. we'll go through, and that's our first hard spot. But once they do the body work, we have to inspect it. So we have to inspect welds. So I made sure that I have training, and all my managers and the people in the production managers, they all have training on spotting good welds. You know, making sure where seam sealer is supposed to go. There's a lot of different seam sealers, the way that it's applied. Just making sure the consistency is right, the color is right. There's a lot of simple stuff, and there's a lot of really complex stuff to make sure that the vehicle is being put back to OE specification. Because once that vehicle is done, we own that repair for the life of that car. So even if you sell your car, well, the next person and the next person and the next person, we're still liable for that repair. And I've seen a lot of really bad repairs because cars come in, they've been repaired before, and we open them up and we're like, wow. I can't believe, you wouldn't know unless you were a body guy and you tore apart the car. Mm-hmm. On face value, yeah, it looked good. But you know what? They didn't even repair the crumple zones, or they put the pinch welds in the wrong spot, or they didn't even weld them, or they didn't even use rivets, or they didn't use this. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into a repair, because a lot of cars now are just unibody construction. So you take it apart to the damaged area and you put it back together. But there's a lot of stuff that has to go in there very specifically to maintain those crumple zones. And a lot of times we'll open up a car and we're very surprised on what we saw. And they're like, oh, well, the guy saved me my deductible. I'm like, well, how do you think he saved you your deductible? He did 90% of the work, or he did 70% of the work.
And the problem is you can't see it because it's hidden.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. So a lot of times, people shop by price. And collision repair is not something you shop by price. If you had a heart attack, you wouldn't go find the cheapest cardiologist. You would make sure you got the best one.
There's a guy that called me the other day, got involved in an accident. It was a DUI, actually, and it was a Porsche. And someone said, hey, you think a body shop will give me money back, or they'll work? I'm like, listen, first, when you deal with a Porsche, it's $15,000 in damage. Once you pull it off, right, there could be other supplemental that you basically need to do, right? Could be 2 or 3. I'm like, you shouldn't be nickeling and diming a Porsche, right? It's one thing if it's a little damage.
Yeah, and the insurance companies would love to give you an initial check. So, if you got into an accident, they'll write it based off what they can see. But there's always going to be internal damage, so just to take that initial check, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because it's like an iceberg. 20% is on the exterior, 80% is on the interior, and basically if you take that as a final payment and you walk with it and you think you're going to pocket some money, you're going to get, especially on a Porsche. Any repair on a Porsche is at least $5,000 to $6,000.
Yeah, so when he was telling me this, I said, listen, this isn't something you should be playing with. And I think a lot of people, they want to play a little bit, and I don't think it's something you should be playing with in general.
Yeah, it's not an opportunity to make money. It's basically insurance is when you get into an accident, fix your car, and you move on with your life.
Yeah. I think, I think what happens is, I was about to say maybe a New York thing, but the bottom line is, you always talk to a friend oh, I went to my body shop and they fixed my car and they gave me money back, or they saved me the deductible. You always see these different stories, and then you feel that you're being screwed because the other guy got a better deal.
Yeah.
And you have no clue what's really done behind it. And
So, even with paint, I get that question all the time. They're like, hey, can you waive my deductible? I was like, I could waive, and then you could give me I was like, but you can't waive a deductible. Technically, by the insurance company, the deductible is the first $500 of your repair. So at the end of the day, the insurance company, if they find out that if you waive the deductible or your deductible was waived, they could actually ask for that money back from you, because any discounts are supposed to go to the insurance company, not to the insured. So a lot of times people think, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to this shop, they're going to waive my deductible. But you got to ask yourself, how are they waiving that deductible? They're either using very low-grade material, paint, or they're repairing instead of replacing stuff, or they're not doing ADAS calibration, which is technically insurance fraud. But they're taking shortcuts, and if you're putting yourself or your loved ones in a car, and that car has safety,
mechanisms.
Safety mechanisms, and the way that the vehicle is supposed to be put together in a specific manner, and they don't do that, you're just putting yourself at risk. And if you're in Las Vegas for any specific amount of time, you know that this is a very dangerous city. There's accidents everywhere.
What you mentioned about putting the car back together. You mentioned that if someone sells the car, let's say 1 or 2 different times, you don't really know what body shop worked on that car, right?
Yeah, which is why it's always good, when you sell a car, is if you go to an OE certified shop, that OE certified repair will always follow the car. So if you got into a rear end and then you had to replace a rear body panel, well, hey, I'm bringing my Kia in. Well, I brought it to Metropolitan Auto Body. That was a Kia certified repair facility. So we know that they have the equipment and they use the OEM specified parts to repair that vehicle, and then they're going to warranty it for life. So at the end of the day, it's peace of mind.
Yeah, but if I buy the car from you and I sell to somebody else. They don't know what body shop I used.
Well, so it should follow it with Carfax. So you should always give like whatever work that was done on the car, because you're going to pull a Carfax and say, hey, this car was in 3 different accidents when you buy it. Well, if you have the documentation to say, look, well, yeah, I was in a rear end collision, but I went to Metropolitan Auto Body, and that collision center was OE certified. So this repair is an OE certified repair with a lifetime warranty. Here's the estimate. I would have peace of mind. I wouldn't like if I was in an accident and I was going to buy a car used, and it was in an accident, and they brought it to an OE certified repair shop. I would buy that car, because I know that car is put together to meet or exceed OEM specifications, and I have nothing to worry about.
Is that always true? Is it? I mean, is it possible that?
What?
I mean, even if it's OEM certified, that they're really putting it back together to OEM. I mean,
I know.
You think they would, right?
Yeah, you would hope that they are. If you're OE certified, you have audits from the manufacturers. You have to be putting them back together.
Okay.
That's why we do the 4 hard stops. Like, our managers make sure that everything, and if we don't approve something, we don't sign off on it. All of our guys are flag rate, so if they don't do it correctly, well, you don't get paid for it. So these guys want to get paid, and they want to make sure that it's done correctly. We just put a financial incentive behind it.
Got it. 2 things real quick. Explain to most people who don't understand. What's OEM?
Oh, it's our original equipment from manufacturers.
Original equipment manufacturer, okay. So basically that you want to go to a place that's OEM certified. Original
equipment
manufacturer.
Yeah, so they just call it OEM or OE.
I've heard it before,
or OE certified.
But you really need to ask a body shop, right? Like, are you OEM certified to fix that?
Yeah, and most body shops will have all their certifications on the wall. So if they have it, they want to let everyone know that they have it.
Got it.
Because like a lot of people, like, they don't know to ask for that. Like we get a lot of people that ask, hey, are you going to use Jeep paint? There's no such thing as Jeep paint. Jeep uses like PPG or Sherman-Williams. They use a paint brand. We're going to use an OE or better. Like, even our paint has to have a UV inhibitor in it because of where we live. So if you buy a car, some cars like the Nissans and the Toyotas, like, you ever see like after 10 years they start oxidizing out? Mm-hmm. That's a waterborne paint product that wasn't really meant for this UV. Our paint product, when we put it on there, actually has to have a UV inhibitor because it's going to exceed manufacturer's specification, and we have to give you a lifetime warranty. So we don't want your paint oxidizing out. We don't want to paint your car again.
Got it. So that's interesting. I didn't know about that. So the biggest thing is that you're doing that to. Is that a standard for the insurance company to exceed it? Is that something that you're supposed to do?
As here in Las Vegas, it would just be it's smart business. So
okay.
like there's a lot of body shops that like I always say paint is a spectrum. So I could buy a gallon of paint that's $2,000 a gallon, or I could buy a gallon of paint that's $100 a gallon. All paint is not created equal. So like I could paint your car, it'll look good the first day, maybe the first month, but like my product will stand the test of time, and I'm going to give you a lifetime warranty. So like I had a guy call me today. He's like, hey, I had my bumper painted at a shop, and I'm not going to mention which one, but he said it's all peeling off. I was like, well, now what happened is I can't put good paint on top of bad paint and give you a warranty. Basically, you either have to replace that bumper, or you have to sand it down to a paintable level where we could build it back up to OE specification. Because what it is it was done wrong, and usually when you do something wrong, it costs you twice as much to do it. So it's going to cost you more in the long run to do it, wrong than just to do it right.
Got it.
And it's peace of mind.
It's interesting. When you say flag rate, what does it mean? That if they get flagged, the employee that basically...
Yeah, so like if you look at your estimate, you go to the last page. The last page will tell you how many like body hours, paint hours, detail hours, mechanical hours. So each tech gets each one of those hours. So they get paid an hourly rate based off of those hours. So if they have to redo it again, or if they do it incorrectly or something like that, they get penalized. Which is really, it's a good incentive program for them to do it correctly the first time. And we have all the hard stops and we sign off on everything. Really, I don't want to do things because what it does, it just messes up your production. So we just want to make sure that with our production process that we're not like no one's throwing like a wrench in the gears.
Got it. It's very interesting stuff. I mean, it's very advanced stuff. Like I keep thinking to myself that if I had a body shop, I could not deal with the amount of detail. I'm kind of a people person. Being a police officer for 17 years, everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
So like you're very detailed oriented. I am not. Like I could have been a detective, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to have like a caseload. Like I just kind of enjoyed the the on the spot moment of policing, where you would actually be a detective because you're so detailed oriented. Yeah. So I give you credit for doing. I could not do that.
This business is very methodical. Like you have to make sure, like from the beginning, all the way through the process that you're following a schedule and you're making sure that everything is done correctly. It's one of those things like if you're not detail oriented, you would not be successful. I mean, I know a lot of people in this industry that own body shops and stuff like that, and I don't know how they do it without a good process. It would just drive me crazy.
No, it's absolutely amazing. When we come back for a quick minute break, I want to go over the whole, when someone gets into a car accident, what's your thought process? We talk about a little bit of deductible, what people should do. A lot of people, like I said, this is a very advanced topic in regards to it, which is it's good for people to understand, because I think everyone's trying to. I feel like everyone's going to a body shop and just trying to basically, not pay the deductible, try to get money back. They don't really see what's going on with the car, so I think it's important. This is really good detailed information, which I actually haven't heard that detail before. So I think it's important to people to hear that because I think that you should just let the body shop do what they're supposed to do. Check for certification. You see them on the wall. Ask them if you're OEM certified. Don't try to nickel and dime them. The best thing is to get the car done. Put the car back together correctly because if you want to sell the car, you'll get more money in the long run. Stop nickeling and diming. And I know that your job probably is pain in the neck when everybody's coming in probably saying, hey, can you help me with the deductible?
Yeah,
which is probably the first thing I would say to you too.
And what I do is we usually try to do some free stuff for them. Like, if they have scratches or something like that, we'll buff out a car. Or if we have enough paint and stuff like that, like if you want, hey, I have another panel that's damaged, 9 times out of 10, we'll just do it because we're already in there already and we'll take care of that. That's the best way to approach a collision center. You could go the other way, but I would always just check what you're sacrificing for the benefit of the deductible. Like if you walk in, you look around and the guys don't have uniforms on, it doesn't look like it's organized, it's in a back alley or like a shitty side of town. I would say, most likely these guys are probably just filling things with Bondo and then painting it with low-grade material. They're probably not probably buying new parts. They're trying to rehab the old parts, which is I look at cars all day, and it's amazing, what I see. I've seen a car sculpted out of Bondo, where, that guy really shouldn't be a body guy. That guy should be a sculptor because the way that he put that car together, it was it would have taken more time to do it wrong than to do it right.
Got it. So we're going to be back in a quick minute. We'll talk about the whole when someone gets into an accident, what exactly should be done. We'll come back with and we'll go over those different issues. So we'll be back in a quick minute, and thanks for joining the Problem Solver.
Meet Joe. Joe's a very busy guy. He's always driving from work to meet friends. And sometimes Joe's in a hurry and doesn't follow all the rules. Joe just got a traffic ticket. Traffic tickets are a major hassle. You have to take time off work to go to court and stand in long lines. A couple days later, Joe saw his friend Matt. Joe tells Matt about his traffic ticket troubles. Another traffic ticket? Just call Ticket Busters. Ticket Busters? Well, what's Ticket Busters? Ticket Busters is the quick and easy traffic ticket solution with licensed attorneys. Ticket Busters went right to work for Joe's ticket. Ticket Busters did all the work, saving Joe time and stress. A few weeks later, Joe receives a call from Ticket Busters and his traffic ticket has been resolved with no points, no traffic school, and no insurance increase. Ticket Busters helped Joe bust his ticket, and Ticket Busters can help you too. Go to ticketbusters.com, download our app, or call 702-666-6666.
Activated.
Welcome back to The Problem Solver. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with Charles Fox again with CarStar Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint. Amazing stuff that we're talking about. Not dry at all whatsoever the topic. Very detailed about body shop business in general. So Charles, again, thanks for joining. Thanks for giving us all this great detailed. So question for you. A lot of people that call me, I get a lot of people every day that get into car accidents. Tell me, in your eyes, like if someone gets in a car accident, your friend, your wife, somebody, God forbid, knock on wood, they get into a car accident, they call you first. Tell me what you would say to them.
I always tell them, make sure you get the insurance information. Because I can't tell you how many people that are like, oh, no, we're just going to work it out together. The guy gave me his phone number. Make sure you get the insurance information and file a claim. There's so many people that are like, hey, I'm going to pay for it out of pocket, and then we give them an estimate, and you never hear from them again. Just make sure they have insurance, and if it's on a public street, call Highway Patrol or the police.
So you believe in always having the police report, having the police come out?
Yeah, because what'll happen is the insurance company, like if say you rear-ended me, and this actually happened to me last week, is a lady rear-ended me, and then she was telling me it was my fault. I was like, you rear-ended me. Like I don't know how another way that could be possible where it could be my fault, but the police came and they cited her. So when you call the police, what will happen is the police officer will assign responsibility. And then they'll also issue a ticket, which is so much easier to explain to your insurance company. Like, I wasn't at fault. See, she got a citation, and the officer wrote it up. And then you have all the documentation. They take photos and everything. I would always make sure that you call the police. I think they don't respond if it's a private property, but I would document everything and make sure you get their insurance company. And if you can, get them, if they admit fault, get them to admit fault. We all have smartphones now. Okay. So have them record that it was their fault. That way it just makes it so much easier. Other than that, you're gonna call your insurance company, and then what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you a preferred list of shops. We're a State Farm shop. We're Farmers, Nationwide, Allstate, Mercury, a bunch of other ones, CEI. But they're gonna recommend you a shop. They're gonna say, hey, this is where you live. This is closest to you. What I always say is a lot of the insurance companies, they'll put like Google reviews and stuff like that on the list and stuff, so you can see how they stack up comparative to the other shops. I would just check reviews and check certifications. A really good website is called CarWise. Yelp is like very swayed to people. I always call Yelp is always smiles and cries. So like people will either give you a 1-star or they'll give you a 5-star. They either love you or they hate you.
Got it.
Good thing about CarWise, it's like a 10-question questionnaire that they get at the end of the repair.
CarWise.com?
So it's actually it's CarWise.com. And basically what it is, when you have a vehicle repaired at a shop, they send you a survey. It's 10 questions. And then there's a comment area. And it's like, how long was your repair? Would you go back? Would you recommend the shop? What's the quality? Like, it asks you like comprehensive stuff based off of your experience, not just like, hey, I went in here and I asked for my deductible to be waived, and the guy said no, he's an asshole. 1-star review. So it's actually someone that actually went to the shop, had the vehicle repaired, and then it'll show you all the certifications. So if you have a certification, an OE certification, it'll be on the CarWise page. A lot of people don't know to use it, but it's actually really useful. I would recommend, like, if one of my family members in New York, they got into an accident, I couldn't fix their car, I tell them go to CarWise, find a shop from there.
Okay, good to know. I got to look it up. So, one thing I want to share with you is that everyone's a little bit different, but I've noticed since I was a cop for 17 years, sometimes people don't want to call the police because they're wanted, or they have traffic tickets they didn't pay for. So in this situation, we always say call the police. A lot of people just don't like the police, right? Especially right now, during these crazy times, people are just kind of anti-police. But the biggest thing is they should take photographs of the insurance, the registration, the information, maybe take the video, go around the car, their car, the location, the intersection, right, to document everything. Even if they don't want to stay and call the police, that they should document things. Make sure they get as much information as the driver as possible. Because I noticed that comes up. I mean, there's sometimes people get into accidents and they just run, and they're not wanted, but they don't want to deal with the police, or who knows what they're thinking. But
not a good suggestion to run. Another thing is, like, if you don't have insurance and stuff like that, and they get your license plate and you do run, that's felony hit and run. If you don't have insurance, if they report you to the DMV, they'll suspend your license. You'll never be able to register a car. What I would always say is, if you're in an accident and you have any questions, call the Problem Solver or call Richard Harris Law Firm. They could probably advise you on what to do.
Okay.
But good documentation. Make sure that they actually admit fault. So if someone rear-ends you and they're like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, okay, you admit that you did it. Can I just take a quick recording of you saying that? And then save it. And that, in case there's any contention later on, you could always have that recording.
Got it. So, all right. So the bottom line is, if your car's damaged, you need to make a claim. You got to figure it out. It's a little bit of a game in general with it. You have insurance. They have insurance. The insurance basically company normally has to basically take to see whether or not they're going to accept the claim, right? In general, so it is a little bit of a game. How does it work with someone if they don't have the rental coverage on the insurance? What do you do with your company if someone doesn't have the rental coverage? I think people just don't know what insurance they have, and I always laugh because you see like Geico says you can save 15%, or everyone says they can save money. But I think what happens is you have to compare apples to apples, and what they do is they take away certain things, right?
Yeah.
They say, oh, I can save you money. They take away this med pay.
Yeah.
They take away the rental coverage, right? So like you don't know what you have, so you get into an accident. What do you do for someone that basically doesn't know what their insurance has in regards to rental coverage, or if they need a car to go to work?
Yeah, I would always warn people about just getting insurance off the internet and basically doing just like buying the cheapest insurance that they can. I would always advise to get an agent. An agent will advise you that if you have apples to apple coverage, and really like rental car coverage is like $2 or $3 a month. It's something that you don't think about until you need it,
coverage.
And it's really expensive. Like if you think of average rental car is like $35 to $45 a day, average repair is 10 days, so $450. So it's a pretty big expense. You're paying $3 a month. $3 a month times 12 is what 36.
So it's not something you should nickel and dime.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would always make sure you have uninsured, underinsured motorist. I think the state minimums just got raised to $25.50. They were like $15.30. So on all my cars, I carry underinsured motorist, and I make sure that I have rental coverage on it. It's just basically it's a good insurance policy.
Are you familiar with the MedPay?
Yeah, MedPay is really good.
What's your thoughts? I think people don't understand all these words. Like people say UIN, like when you're in the business.
Yeah, MedPay is basically like if you're in an accident, they'll cover your medical expenses even if the other party doesn't. So, and I think they even cover it even if the other ones do. So I think it's just a plus.
From talking to different insurance people and working with law firms, I think and I really, even though I was a cop for 17 years, basically, I wasn't really that educated, but I really do believe. Yes, you need some decent coverage on your car for yourself, right? God forbid, and if you have assets, like if you have homes or you have money, in general. I think that you need the UIM, basically, just God forbid you basically get injured yourself or other people, to have that extra insurance in general. The MedPay helps with medical bills as well. So I think you really need to it sounds funny, it sounds like a mutual fund. I think you need to diversify your insurance to make sure your coverage, especially, $3 a month gives you rental coverage. And actually, it's funny you say 10 days. I think every time I give in a car to somebody, it's more than 10 days.
It's 10 days.
15 to 30 days.
And that's not including weekends and holidays. So, like, if you run into, like, something like, around Christmas time, that repair is going to be 15 to 20 days. And it's a
long time.
It's a long time.
So, again, MedPay, UIM, having good coverage, having the rental car coverage, I think at this point in time, you just can't nickel and dime. But the problem is with people, you're always paying for insurance for the what if. And that's the problem is that, when things are tight and COVID going on,
And it's relative to your age. I remember when I was younger, I had a car that was $135 a month and the insurance was $350. So it's relative to your age. And I would just make sure you shop it and make sure you know what you're getting.
It's funny, you just make it remind me because you're a New Yorker that I first got my car. I grew up in Queens, but I went out to Hicksville. There's a DMV out there, and there was actually an insurance company called DCAP Insurance. I looked it up.
That's awesome.
And it's actually still there. And it was like neon signs. It was like cool place. I got my first insurance then. I went to the DMV. I don't know why it was Hicksville specifically, but you just reminded me of that because of being from Long Island. So, okay, so we talked about the deductible. We really shouldn't play games. We talked about the insurance. Why is it so important to deal? We talked a little about this, but why is it so important to deal with a reputable body shop? Of course, I know you want viewers and listeners to go to your body shop because you're basically like 5-star. You're on top of your game. You're OEM certified. Basically, just from talking to you, you have wealth of knowledge, so you know that's going into your car. You know what I'm saying in general because you manage the place and you're on top of your game. But why is it so important? Like, give us a story about another body shop that maybe that you uncovered something that came into your shop and safety issue maybe.
Yeah, there was one. It was a Kia Soul that. So a Kia Soul, the roof has to be panel bonded and then also pinch welded in all the corners. It was the same accident again. Got hit in the quarter panel, so we had to remove the roof. When we removed the roof, no seam sealer, and they plug welded instead of inverted spot weld. Like an inverted spot welder is a giant welder that's like $50,000 that not every body shop can afford, but. It's a giant arm that has 2 pinch welds and doesn't put a lot of heat into the panel, but it solidifies it. And a lot of the things with body is not the heat or the welding, it's the press. Because the press of the weld actually keeps water out of it, actually keeps it where it's structurally rigid So it's actually the press of it is as important as the heat of the weld and the buildup of the weld and the sealing of the weld. And if that car would have rolled over, the roof was actually those pinch welds were actually structural to the roof, and if it would have rolled over, all the occupants would have died.
Tell me about some of the equipment that you have that you may have specialized equipment more than another body shop. Anything specific that really stands out?
Yeah, so like a lot of cars are going aluminum or like electric cars. So like we have a aluminum clean room, we have aluminum tools, we have aluminum welders. Like you can't weld aluminum with a MIG welder. You have to have an actual pulse welder. We have bronzing welders. We have rivet guns. Like the Ford F-150 is all aluminum now. The bed sides are basically they're riveted on. So you have to have a self-piercing riveter and then a blind riveter. So like my self-piercing riveter, I think is $13,000. It's basically it just takes a rivet and then it presses it in. It looks like a pinch weld. So when you look at it, it's a super clean because it's aluminum. You can't obviously can't weld it. That's specialty equipment that to get the Ford certification and get the Ford aluminum certification, you have to have a lot of this equipment in order just the bare minimum do a repair. So a bedside on a Ford F-150 is not an incredibly complex repair, but the tooling that's required to do the repair there's a very high echelon, a very high price point. That's how they kind of control their shops. And these OE certifications, Ford comes in, they look at our shop. If our shop is too dirty, if the light is not enough, they fail you. So you have to even from the bare minimum, you have to have good lighting. You have to have enough square footage. You have to have a clean room. You have to have a separate paint mixing bay. There's a lot of things that most shops don't even have as bare minimums. Not even the tooling to do, not even just the tooling to do the repair.
It's like I used to work in a hospital that called the Joint Commission would come in and inspect.
Yeah.
Whether or not the hospital was up to grade. You mentioned about electric cars. We're going to go to a quick minute commercial. When we come back, let's talk about the Teslas and new cars, your thoughts about those in general. And I want to just share to the to the viewers and listeners, basically, that if you have any type of problem, whether it's the car or insurance or accident, anything whatsoever, the whole point of the Problem Solver is for me to be a liaison between you and myself and someone here like Charles that works in a body shop that can get some help where I can reach out to Charles and say, hey, can you look at the car? Can you evaluate it? So I'm choosing to work with people that are good people in regards to whether it's an attorney, whether it's a body shop, whether it's an insurance agent. And I want to be able to educate people in general about the things that you need, because even myself, that I thought I was educated, to me, there's a lot of things that I'm learning as well when I meet with different people that are solving problems in the community. And even someone like Charles in the body shop, he's helping people solve people's problems by putting their car back together and making sure it's done properly, especially when safety comes to issue for you and your family. If you have children, you want to make sure that you're driving the proper car. So we'll be back in a quick minute, and thanks for joining the Problem Solver.
Another day in Nevada, and we're lucky enough to call it home. The world knows us for our entertainment, but the best part about living here is the everyday people of our communities. And when one of us gets injured in an accident, well, I guess you could say it's personal. We fight for the people of Nevada every day. The Richard Harris Law Firm at 444-4444, just in case.
And we're back with the Problem Solver. Thank you so much for joining us. We're on the last half, and we're here with Charles again with CarStar Metropolitan Auto Body and Paint. Charles, just to cap off on, we got about 8 to 10 minutes to go. Tell me a little bit about with working on these new cars, the Tesla, because I have a friend that's in California. I guess the car was parked and started going up in flames. So what's going on electrical? What are your thoughts about this whole electrical cars and stuff like that?
I mean, personal opinion, I love Elon Musk. He's an awesome guy. It's a horrible car. It's just I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy one. So basically, like the Type S, that's a coach-built car. So every car is completely different. So like a coach built card means that there's a team that assembles it, and I think the new ones are built in the Geo Metro plant in Michigan now, which is like a really antiquated plant. So they're like, if you look at them, like it's kind of like construction here in Las Vegas. Like you go up to a window in a track home, and every window is not correct, and there's sway here. You go to you look at the drywall, it's all wavy. It's the same thing. It's a great concept. What he's doing for the industry is awesome. I personally wouldn't own one of the cars because there's just too many problems.
Are there that many problems?
There's a lot of problems.
Like you saying, like with the window, like what do you?
Like everything.
I don't think I've ever. Maybe I sat in one, but I've never driven one.
If you look at it, they have like the worst consumer rating ever, and like what a lot of times like they rush production on them, and like even from the factory they come like the shop next to us is a Tesla certified, and they were like a repurposed shop for Tesla. They come off the truck and they go into a body shop to get fixed, and then they go get delivered to a customer. So just that, like the was the Model X one with the gold wing doors. That car, if it's ever in an accident, those gold wing doors need to be replaced. They will never be the same. Just the construction of the car, there's no way you could ever get those things back on. Both my sisters have Model 3s. They both hate them. Like they're.
What do they say about them?
They just like the fuel efficiency is awesome.
Okay.
Like you don't have to you don't have to buy gas, and they are fast. Like her Model 3 is probably faster than my truck. Like 0 to 60.
Okay.
But like panels falling off, her glass just randomly just broke one day. Just like she was just driving down, and then big crack across the front of it. Pieces falling off.
There was a girl yesterday I had a meeting with, and she was like, I love it. She's like, it's like driving a golf cart.
It's like it's a social stigma. Like it's like a status symbol. Like to have it, so people like it. Like they like it's like the iPhone. Yeah, it's like Starbucks or the iPhone. It's probably not particularly the best product ever, but just the hype on it makes people feel better. So if you like a Tesla to feel better, get one. I mean, I would just say that if you ever get into an accident with a Tesla, be prepared to wait like 6 to 8 months for a repair. Like a bumper takes probably 4 months.
So you definitely need the rental assistance. What happens after that for 30 days? Do they give
nothing? You after 30 days is up to you. That's your insurance policy. They know what the insurance company tells you. Buy a car that has parts that are available. Because right now, like even with manufacturing, like Tesla would rather put that part on a car that they're going to sell than to sell it to you as a repair.
So what happens
part.
after a month, or is that so repair could be 6 months?
Yeah, I've had cars and then it basically just destroys the relationship with your customer because you're like, I would love to fix your car, but I cannot make the part to repair your car, so I have to wait. And people are always like, can you hurry up? I'm like, how do I hurry up waiting? Like I'm trying to get your car done as fast as possible.
Got it.
But what happens is I am only as good as my part suppliers, and for just a bumper job will take you probably 4 to 5 months.
Got it. What so basically for our viewers and listeners, is there anything that you offer basically, especially for them, that if someone listens or watches us and they want to come into your body shop specifically for like an evaluation, is there any stuff that you could offer them specifically?
Yeah, we do free estimates. So you get a free. If you come in for an estimate, we'll give you a free estimate that we write in CCC or Mitchell, and it's gonna be basically what you could take to your insurance company, or if you want to pay out of pocket, you can. We always take photos of everything, so we could always reference it.
Got it.
I would always say is an evaluation is only a preliminary estimate, and a preliminary estimate is based off of what we can see. In order to figure out exactly what we have to do a full teardown. So if you're okay with leaving the car and letting us do a teardown, obviously if we do a teardown, we're not going to put it back together. You'd have to either get it fixed with us or get it fixed somewhere else. But the best way to get it, if it's a heavy hit, but if you scratch your bumper or something like that, we could do something that's just superficial.
Evaluation.
And it's probably going to be 100%.
Okay. And then just to give your phone number and your address one more time, so viewers and listeners can have it, and we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, we're located 2901 South Highland Drive. We're building 3H is the office. So if you come in through the complex, you're going to go to the back towards the I-15. We're between Sahara and Desert Inn. We're right next to Treasures, right across the street from Counts Customs, right down the street from Rolling Smokes Barbecue, if you're familiar with the area. Our phone number is 702-792-6220. You call in, ask for me, Alex, Fernando, or Nada. We're the office staff. We'll take care of it.
And what's the website?
It's Metropolitan Auto Body at yahoo.com. And then it's going to auto direct you to the CarStar corporate website.
Okay, great. And then any other thoughts that you want to share? I think we went over a lot of different things about the detail that you go through to get a car back and running, do free evaluations. I guess the deductible situation always comes up. Will you work with people in regards to like a payment plan for that? Like, because right now hard times.
Yeah, so
I know there's some loan programs too.
Yeah, so we have through Synchrony, it's a 0% 12-month no interest financing. So it's like a credit card.
Okay.
So you can put it on a credit card. I would always, I like the one thing that I would stress is make sure like if you have a newer car, and I say like a newer car is like 2005 or newer. Like those cars have safety systems, like even if it's just like backup sensors or forward sensors, or if you have adaptive cruise control, if you have lane departure, or if you have blind spot monitoring, all that stuff is all sonar. It's considered ADAS, which is basically your advanced collision avoidance system. And then the ADAS system has to be programmed correctly. So we have guys in town that have computers that are $50,000, $60,000 computers that hook into yours, and then there's a learning process to all that stuff. And a lot of shops, you could program them with a basic laptop, but you could program them incorrectly. So the last thing you ever want is, your collision avoidance, where the self-braking cars, where like that car thinks that the distance between your car and the next car is 10 feet, but it's really 3 feet. So that car is not applying brakes, for the first 7 feet of that collision, and it's only hitting it on the last 3 feet. So you could actually program, and you could fix a vehicle incorrectly without anyone knowing. The only way you would know is you pull the black box out and you say, hey, who calibrated this before? XYZ body shop did it, and it looks like they did it incorrectly. And you have to have a lot of space for them. You have to have like signals, and it's not like on a Mercedes, the one that self-parks. It's like a 12-hour learning procedure for their collision.
Yeah, it's getting much more advanced. Again, Charles, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Love to have you come back in the future. We're basically up for the hour in general. So again, great information. And the bottom line is we're gonna get you that. We're gonna get anyone that needs any help in regards to the car accident. We're gonna refer people to you. Again, I appreciate you coming on the show every single week, having great people like yourself join the show. So again, thanks to the listeners and the audio and video, basically whoever's watching. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week again with The Problem Solver. Again, I can be reached at 400-7474 or theproblemsolver.vegas. Have a great week. Be careful. Don't get into an accident. Have a great day.